Well, I'm just doing another chicken roast in the combination convection microwave oven that I bought from Kmart. I've got to say it's exceeded my expectations. This oven has been brilliant. It's done everything that I could ask it to do. Well, it's on a stand there. I don't think you can see it quite clearly, but I can show it to you outside the machine. It's a little metal stand that you put, whenever you're doing convection cooking, you put it on top of the rotating plate. I didn't do that initially, so I got that part wrong. But after I read the manual, you're supposed to put it on there. I've got it in its own little baking tray. There's still plenty of room. It's only a small chook. This one's only about 1.2 kilos. It's a free range chook. The one I'd actually asked for was 1.6, but of course they didn't have it in stock. Aren't we all used to that with supermarkets at the moment? So they did a substitution. So I got 0.4 kilo less than what I'd hoped, but it'll be okay because I'm going to use it as the basis for a chicken curry tonight. So that should be okay. I feel a lot more confident with my culinary skills using that equipment than what's happening outside here. Last week I took delivery of a planter boxes, and they came in this cardboard pack, and so far I've got 2 of these panels done, so that's one half of one box. So I've got to put them together using these, which I had to sort of work out because the manual doesn't really do it for me. That's the manual. And it took me a while to work it out. I put the wrong section together first off, and then I noticed they have the numbers on the actual panels, so that's good. It helped me out a bit, but I'm still not 100% sure I'm doing the right thing. This is the way it should come out. It should be a 1.2 litre side, length I should say, and those are the basic dimensions of it, and that's the stuff that you require to put together. It is way outside my comfort zone doing this sort of stuff, but I've done it with a few things that I've bought online. So I guess the more you do it, the more confident you get, but I don't think this is the most comprehensive information to put it together, but I'm soldiering through and hopefully doing okay. I've contacted the eBay seller just seeing if they've got a video available. I did a hunt for one on YouTube and there was nothing, which would probably indicate that they don't have one. Because they claim it's so piss easy to put together, but unless you're sort of used to putting these things together all the time, it's not that easy for most people, I think you'll find. This is only a prelude to what I've got in store for me with the e-bike that will be delivered next week, presumably. That's going to be a challenge because there was a video of a woman in Munich, Germany, putting it together, an English woman, middle-aged woman. She seemed to have no trouble doing it, did a time-lapse segment putting together the bike, but what she didn't show was all the adjustments you have to make to the, I think they're called derailleur, is the gearing on the bike. You have to make some adjustments to that as well. I think all the wiring should be together, should be attached, and I shouldn't have to worry about that. It's mainly putting the pedals on and the steering wheel, but you also have to make some gear adjustments, which I've got no idea about. So maybe there might be a video on that. I think there are some videos. Whether it's specifically to do with the model that I've got, well, that's the other question. But as far as the gear is concerned, that should be fairly generic, one would hope. But anyway, I'm only starting this and spent about an hour getting this right because I stuffed it up originally. I got the wrong panel. I got the number 2 panel rather than the number 3 panel, so that was a bad start. Then I figured out that I've got to follow the numbers, and I've still got to do the side panels, do 2 of those, and the end panels, there's 2 more of those and 2 more of these. So I'm only about less than a third of the way through the construction of the first of the 2 planter boxes. So, but it'll be good to get it done. I'm glad I started it anyway. So, and they're going to go down here, and there's plenty of room for more of them right along the length there. Actually, it looks fairly flat. It might be okay. I was worried it might be a little undulating, but there's still the remnants of some of the mulch that I got, so I could dig that up and just flatten it. but it's quite flat down here, and I think it'd be a good place to plant stuff like tomatoes. We'll get plenty of sun down here. So, and the avocado is doing brilliantly, as you can see, and the also the lime tree that I planted is also doing well, and lemon is coming up the rear. It's not doing so well, but it's healthy and it's growing, so that's the main thing. Anyway, I'll see how much of this I'll get done today, and I'll just keep hammering away at it, I guess. But it's good to start it at least. Well, I just discovered what a total dumbass I am. I needed to actually design these pieces so that they would slot together like that. And what I've done is I put it on the opposite side. It's supposed to go flush with that one so I can connect the two together. I've put it down the wrong end, so I've got to remove all of those again and put it on that side so I can connect to form a full length of the side of this thing. This will take forever the way I'm going. I'm making so many fundamental errors. What a dumbass. Well, it's Thursday. I was actually going to take the bus today to Smithfield to get some provisions from Woolworths, but I decided I really don't need it. I was mainly because I was going to make another sauce, a spaghetti sauce using tuna as a base, and I need to get some more tomato paste, which I'm out of, and Coles don't have it in stock, so Woolworths is my only chance of getting it. But I've got so much food. I've just made up the curry, the chicken curry. I've got about 5 lots of that in the freezer now, so I've got a stack of food there. I don't really need to do that. I'll have a salad tonight and it'll be fine. As you can see, I'm sort of gone nowhere with the raised garden beds. That's what's happening at the moment, because yesterday I received no reply from the eBay seller who sold this, and my concern is that I don't have enough little screws and nuts to make up the whole thing. I've got that joined up to both ends, or both sides I should say, the long sides like that. I've got to put the other, a duplicate of that down there to make up the whole thing, and I've already run out of the nuts and screws, and this is where the problem of putting together your own stuff is from time to time. And they sort of rave about their customer service, this mob, and they say they want to delight the customer, and that's exactly the phrase that they used at Telstra when I worked there for their customer service. And I don't think of the term Telstra and delighting in customer service context as sort of fitting particularly well. Not great bedfellows, I would have thought. So, and this mob, they got back to me once, but I haven't heard back from them for over a day, so that's pretty slack. I was hoping they'd have a video of how to construct it. I mean, it's so easy to put together a video these days with the technology, because I mean, I do this all the time, just walk and talks. So how difficult would it be to do something like that? Anyway, they probably don't have one, and it makes construction of these things a lot easier if you can see someone actually putting it together, rather than using a manual where some of the stuff they refer to is obscure, in my opinion anyway. Yeah, just thought I heard my next door neighbour come in. I haven't seen him for ages, for months. Usually in the past I've seen him out the front a bit, but not recently. And he's got my, well, it's not mine anymore. I did give him the scooter, the electric scooter, but I'd like to know how he's going with it. Anyway, I'm just going down to the local shops today instead of doing the bus trip. Of course, the main motivator for me to get off my ass is to buy grog, and I'll do that. I've been trying to find the beef eater at Murphy's for $35, but they put it up to $45, and that's the member's price. It's around $50 if you're not a member, and the price seems to fluctuate between $35 and that, but currently it's $45, and I'll just wait until hopefully it drops back to $35 again. But now that Liquorland's not selling it, there's less competition, unfortunately. So I'll just try to see if they've got the port there, what's the name of the bloody porty? Anyway, they've got the $7 port's excellent value at Liquorland, and that special's been on for some time, so hopefully it's still going. And I'm going to be watching the old footy tonight. It could be the end of Richmond's campaign in the finals. The first game, they could get bumped out against Brizzy up there, or I should say down there, because where I'm living now. I'm talking like I'm still living in Melbourne. No, it's definitely down there from Cairns. So yeah, they're playing Brisbane tonight because they were on top of us on the ladder, so they get to pick the home venue as the place to play the final, which I think is a good system. But I think we can beat them, so it'll be interesting. It depends on Dustin Martin, who apparently got into a little bit of strife with fondling a lady from behind, a bare-chested lady, and a bit of a kerfuffle in the press about that, but it could be a total beat-up, who knows. So we'll see, but I just love controversy, the journos. I'll beat up any story, so let's see what's actually behind it all. Anyway, it's good not to go on the bus again. I didn't really need to. I had plenty of food. So I'll do a salad tonight. I've got a stack of veggies that I use. I'll either cook up I've got pumpkin, or I've got sweet potato, or just standard potato that I'll fry up or roast and throw in to the salad mix. Always sort of makes a difference. And even though I don't have any feta left, I'll just substitute Parmesan cheese for the feta, and that'll be nice anyway. What I don't have is tomatoes. I'm trying to grow my own. That would be nice. But they're not cheap if you buy them. I like to get the cocktail ones. I think they're the nicest ones. You use up for over $4 just for about 8 cocktails. Look at that, a windy day. That's why I'm not riding the bike. I was going to do it just to see if I've got any stamina left riding it, but I don't think I'm up to it. And there is a breeze today, so next Tuesday the e-bike is slated in for delivery. That's the estimation anyway. I'm going to be out Monday morning, so I hope they don't deliver it then. It'll be a pain. So if it's Tuesday or later in the week, not a problem. But we'll see, but at least that's their estimate. So, but I'm a little nervous about it now because I'm just having trouble putting together a raised garden bed. Putting together an e-bike is going to be a little more involved, but there will be videos online for that particular product. So, I mean, like I said, to put together a video these days is just a how to assemble video. It's so easy to do. You really, any company that sells stuff like that on eBay should just whip one together. It's so simple, and it really does help. I find it's one of the best ways of knowing if you're doing something right, because the manuals they're ambiguous, some of the instructions, I find anyway. I prefer to actually see what they're doing with the nuts and bolts, literally and metaphorically. A little overcast today, but quite nice. And my curry chicken will taste better the next time I eat it. Once I've got 5 frozen portions now, and it'll taste better. It's enhanced as you give it time. So yeah, I quite enjoy a chicken curry. It's quite easy to make and quite delish. So see how we go. But yeah, I'll either get some port today. If the port's not on special, then I'll go for a bottle of red. At least Liquorland's always got decent price bottles of red. You can usually get something under $10 or $10 to $12. And I'm not a wine snob, so I don't care. You know, I think it tastes as good as other stuff. You know, when I go out and I have a pepper jack, yeah, it's a nice drop, but is that much nicer than other stuff? maybe marginally, but not a huge amount, I don't think. So again, you're not made of money. Oh, and I think I ordered, I've been trying magnesium pills on advice from one of my old stalwarts watching this particular channel. They said it's good for sleep. I have taken it 2 nights in a row, just 1 capsule before going to bed, a half hour before hitting the sack. And I think it does make a difference. It does. It's supposed to be a muscle relaxant. It's got a 500 ml capsule, and it does seem to help. So, although I still woke up early morning again, so I might take a standard, set it tonight just to get a decent night's sleep. But one thing that pissed me off about it though, it was on special the previous week. I ordered it online for $6.50 for a, I think 75 capsule bottle. And this week I ordered it again because they didn't have it in stock, which is a bit suspicious. If you've got something on special, you know, and you don't have it in stock, you've got to ask the question, is it a setup? And the following week it was back to its normal price, which is $13 rather than $6.50. And now next week, the current, if I bought it from Wednesday onwards this week, it's back to $6.50. But would they deliver it? And that's the big question. They could be just bullshitting, especially with delivery people. So I'm pretty pissed off. I paid $6.50 extra when I actually did order it on special and they didn't deliver it. And then they're quite happy to take the full $13 when they finally get the thing in stock. It pisses me off, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, there was another item that had gone down in price after I bought it online too. Most times it doesn't happen, thank God, but it is annoying when it does. That's something I forgot to mention. Yeah, I actually checked my house price value. They tend to update it on realestate.com every 30 days, roughly. And they said they did it 3 days ago. Well, that hasn't actually showed up because I checked it out 2 days ago and it was the same price as before. But they've just put it in and they've put an estimation of 605,000 now. So it's the first time I've cracked 600,000 for the estimated sale price of my property. So according to them, prices are still edging up in this area. And I looked at the graph, the supply and demand graph, and again there's less properties being supplied, only about 17 in that month, and but the number of people looking, I think, went up about 19%. So it's not as high as it was in the major peak period, but it's a very healthy demand here. And this is what I suspected, that there's a lot of price drops happening in the big cities, especially in really affluent suburbs. But up here, this is still perceived as a bargain. It's a lifestyle change. I think a lot of people find it very attractive here, and there's only so many properties, especially near the beach, that can be had. So just logic says that it's a good long-term investment, if nothing else. Not that in my case it's an investment, as I keep saying. I won't be buying another house, I don't think. I think this is it. This will be the last one for me. But it's always nice to see that they're estimating the property has gone up. The bank hasn't altered it. I've been checking them as well, and they've kept it down to 573 estimate. So they're always conservative. They may do an update soon, who knows, but like I say, at least realestate.com have just edged it up a little higher, so that was surprising, because I thought that might be just flatlining at this stage. And it is only an estimate anyway, so. But yeah, the health, it still seems to be pretty healthy up here with real estate. It's just not enough properties on the market. It just seems to be a chronic shortage. Yep, well, the old Wolf Bluffs port is on special still, only $7. It's been like that for ages. And I'll tell you, I'm very glad I walked here, because there's a huge headwind on my back right now, and it would have been painful riding the bike up here. Just if you're fit, fine, but even then it wouldn't be much fun. Definitely e-bike material here. this area here would be perfect for it to going that direction, because more often than not the wind is coming from the south. I got a fair few southerlies ones in Parramatta Park too. Yeah, but I know that I would have been really struggling. So I wanted to see if my endurance had held up. So I was interested to ride the bike for that reason, but I'm glad that a few wisps of breeze put me off. And as it's turned out, it's been a sensible decision, because Cottesloe is not a great place to ride down south, down in the southerly direction. So yeah, anyway, that was good to get the walk. I got myself a bottle of red as well, and had a chat to the lady serving. She's quite nice, and she used to rent herself. Well, not that I'm renting, but I was talking about, you know, I'm glad I don't have to rent, given the market is the way it is at the moment. It's very tough in the world. And she said yes, she was renting in Kewarra, but ended up having to move to Holloways, which is a beach further down the road. But yeah, I said, well, I mean, I have been through it. I had to. I got a rental here years ago in Parramatta Park, before I bought the place down the road from it. But yeah, I just couldn't get. I was getting pessimistic. I didn't think I was going to be able to get a place, and that was much better market back then. That was like 5-6 years ago, and it was a tight market, but nowhere near as tight as now. I think someone actually quoted online on the papers or whatever that it was a 0.02 or so, or 0.2, I think it is. Yeah, 0.2 is the actual vacancy rate right now, and a healthy one I think is closer to about 2%, not 0.2. So it's just insane. And again, house prices are still going up here, from what I can tell. They won't keep going up forever, and I think they will stagnate for some period of time, but you just don't know. Maybe there could be a permanent lifestyle change for people who are wanting to move out post-COVID to provincial areas. And I got to now make my political statement about what Labor's got in mind, increasing the immigration intake to some insane figure of over 200,000 a year, at a time when we have an incredibly tight rental market everywhere in Australia. It's going to make it that much harder for people to find a place. And what in effect is going to occur is you're going to have a Labor government causing mass homelessness, because where are these people going to go? They won't have enough public housing, that's for sure. So they just don't think things through in Canberra. They don't have a connection with the average person. I do understand that business is screaming out for migrants, because there is a very tight labour market here too. And of course they don't like the fact that workers here have got the whip hand at the moment, and they're probably pushing up wage rates to some degree, especially in certain sectors. And they'd like the migrants to take a bit of that pressure off, get themselves relatively cheap labour, and even skilled labour at that. But I think there could be some blowback to it. It's going to be difficult to govern at the moment. And the other thing I think is absolutely insane is these ridiculous edicts to outlaw petrol-driven cars after certain dates. It's just a ridiculous way to approach the transition from fossil fuels to electric. Now obviously I'm not anti-electric, I'm getting myself an e-bike delivered on Tuesday, but I do realise that many people, especially in provincial areas again, they need cars because of the distance they can travel and at the cost they can travel at the moment, which has gone up because of petrol, but it will come down again at some stage. EVs are not there yet. They will be eventually, maybe 5-10 years, but right now they're basically a rich man's car. And with a big recession coming, people won't be able to afford it. As a matter of fact, I'm predicting that Tesla may have some real problems flogging off their cars. They've never had that issue before because there's always been a waiting list for their vehicles. And I mean, it is the gold star of electric vehicles, the Tesla brand. And technically, I mean, you know, Musk is a brilliant engineer, but you know, people just won't have the money to spend on them. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.